Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you very much for your time today. Today, we were presenting our very unique offering, which is SAM as a service presented from our data centers as a managed services to our customers in Qatar. My name is Razwan Al Haq. I am the head of business for Mannai Datacenters. Now, why have we brought this MSP to our customers? In the dynamic landscape of modern business, effective management of software assets has emerged as a critical factor in driving operational efficiency and strategic growth. Mannai Data Center takes pride in offering cutting-edge solutions through its software asset management as a service in managed services provider model, a transformative approach that redefines how organizations in Qatar manage their software estates. At Mannai Data Center, we recognize the challenges that business face in maintaining compliance, optimizing costs, and efficiently managing their software ecosystem. Our SAM as a service model is designed to go beyond traditional software asset management practices, providing a comprehensive and tailored solution that empowers organizations to take control of their software assets. Our approach extends beyond conventional boundaries of MSP services. We offer a holistic and proactive solution that covers every aspect of software asset management, from initial assessment to ongoing optimization. Our goal is to enable businesses to make informed decisions, reduce risks, and unlock the true value of their software investments. In the digital age, software assets are backbone of operations, enabling organizations to innovate and thrive. Navigating the intricate landscape of the software licensing, compliance, and usage requires expertise and a strategic approach. Mannai Data Center serves as your trusted partner, committed to providing Qatar businesses with a streamlined and efficient way to manage their software assets. Now, with a focus on transparency, efficiency, and strategic guidance, our SAM as a service in MSP model stands ready to elevate your software asset management experience. We invite you to embark on this transformative journey with Mannai Data Centers, where innovation meets expertise to shape a new paradigm in software management. Talking about expertise, I would like to hand over to our SAM specialist and senior consultant, Sanjeev Boria, to take this forward. Sanjeev?
Thank you, Razwan. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. First of all, I thank you for joining this session on software asset management. My name is Sanjeev Bodia, and I lead the SAM business for Mannai Data Center. As a Mannai initiative, we really intend to bring some value-added services to our customers, and we really aim and we believe that we are able to deliver this via our SAM as a service offerings for the region. While companies in Qatar can really avail all of our services to potentially explore any kind of cost optimization services and value-added services that they can probably derive from us. So let's start. In today's session, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take you through a few of the customer challenges that we've been hearing for the last many years, I would say. We try to consolidate all the key level of challenges that we encounter. And as a customer, if you are an IT manager, or if you are a procurement person, or if you are a senior advisor, you can actually correlate all these challenges, what we are going to present to you. Next would be, what is software lifecycle management? Going back to the basic of what exactly is software in an organization and how it is start its journey and how it ends the overall life cycle of a software. Now, what is software asset management and why is it important for any organization? Followed by, what are the real SAM business values that one can expect by having a robust SAM practice? It could be done by an internal team, or it could be done by external consultants like us. Next is, what would be the different SAM offerings that Mannai are bringing to the Qatar market? And what is our approach? Let's begin. Customer challenges in a typical software asset management estate. Now, imagine if you are an IT manager and you've been asked to deploy a software into a virtualized environment, having complex infrastructure where you need to have specific license expertise. Typical questions that comes, that is, how is this product licensed? If you want to deploy a database, how is this product licensed? How can we actually optimize the licenses that we already have? How can we really manage the spend around the licenses that we want to install and configure in our estate? License expertise is a very big challenge across the region, across the globe, I would say. Now, why is this? Because of the complex licensing policies that the OEMs like Microsoft, like IBMs, like Oracle of the world, they bring in. The products are really complicated, and so are the licenses. This is a real challenge that we have encountered. Many IT teams, they lack the licensing expertise. Second is the risk management challenges that organization possess. What could be the licensing impact if I mislicense a specific product? Whether it is going to be a small licensing impact or it will be a big impact to the organization. Now, these are questions which are really get unanswered. What are the potential audit risks in an event of a third-party audit? If it happens, what are the significant risks that organization can go through it? Could be a reputational risk or it could be a financial risk. Both really needs to be carefully taken care of. What are the several contractual obligations while going through your contracts between Oracle and the organization, or maybe IBM or Microsoft? This could be very complicated for sure. And I'm sure someone from today's session might be from a contracts department and you would be actually correlating what I am trying to share. And it's a real problem. Having lack of knowledge of several data results in poor negotiation. If you have accurate data and if you have the inventory in place, we have a stronger position to negotiate with the vendor. Now, the contracts are yearly renewed every year on year. If you have a Microsoft agreement or if you have an Oracle EULA agreement or if you have SAP contracts, all needs negotiations as an organization. While vendor might come and share their prices and they might share with a BOQ, but as a IT manager or as a procurement guy, if we have a significant insights on the data, we are in a very good position to actually negotiate, and it helps. Optimization. All organizations typically are trying to become better and better and better. When it comes to optimizing their current estate, if they want to optimize their spend, they want to reduce their effort and have smart investment areas, they want to do it. But the question comes is, how do we do it? We lack certain skill set and we need help from an external vendor who can actually help them along with their roadmap and achieve the optimization which they are looking out for. The bigger challenge that I see now that everyone is migrating to cloud, especially let's talk about SAP. It's kind of forcing customer to move their on-prem to cloud. Now the questions comes, what are the different options that they have and how will it impact if they move their on-prem licenses to a cloud? What are the significant change that they can consider and how will it impact? From a commercial perspective, how you would actually manage the spend is a real question. It comes every time whenever there's a question around migrating onto a cloud. Now, several technologies, whether it could be Microsoft Azure or it could be Oracle Cloud, or it could be AWS. Be it any cloud provider you have, these challenges would still exist. Rounding up to questions in a very simpler language is lack of complete understanding and track of inventory. Yeah, if we ask a question to IT manager or IT person, do you have a complete understanding and are you aware of the 100% of your assets? The answer is no. They say we do have, but it's not complete. We lack. The licensing rules are very complex and it ends up in a very misunderstanding in a different way, and that can result in potential non-compliances. This is a classic question that comes, that the licensings are very complicated. Unlicensed applications, they result in penalties. In an audit, any application which is unlicensed, it can possibly result in an penalty situation. Whenever there's a virtualized environment, the licensing complication just increases to a next level. Today's world, more and more virtualized environments are being used to optimize the hardware capacity. But in one side, we save the cost on the hardware, but we end up spending a lot of complication on the licensing part. That ends up in a lot of procurement in the software licenses. So on one side, we end up saying for the hardware, but we don't realize that virtualized environments are even more complicated to license any software. Especially the Oracles and SAP and IBM. Very complicated when it comes to a virtualized environment. Frequent licensing changes that the OEMs does, it exposes to a lot of vulnerabilities. And lastly, unauthorized software pose a cybersecurity risk as well. Now, all these challenges, if I summarize, we have SAM for everyone. SAM for IT team, SAM for the GRC team. We have SAM for the procurement team. We have SAM for the cybersecurity team as well. So in net, it's a really important for any organization to consider software asset management as a practice to make sure that all these challenges are overcome and they have a roadmap to overcome all these challenges. Now, what is software lifecycle management? Software lifecycle management is basically an end-to-end journey of a software within an organization. Now, to keep it at a basic, it's a 4 different stages that any software goes through in their life. It starts from a request, wherein a software is requested. Then once the software is requested, it could be by any business unit or a specific user. The demand gets qualified by the approval team and it's given ahead to the next team so that they can package it and deploy it in their devices. Now, this could be a software, could be for a desktop, or it could be for a laptop, or it could be for a server, or it could be for a mobile device. So request is something which happens at the start. Any new user joins in, any new requirement, that's the first stage it has to go through. All organizations have a strong control and good processes set around the request phase, because that is something which is immediate required, and organization has really focused into first stage of the software lifecycle management. Second stage comes the provide stage, wherein once the IT team gets the required license, they do deploy in their devices. They will do a prerequisite check. They will have a license availability check. They will check all the terms and conditions, and they're gonna provide it to the user or to the department. This comes as a IT operations part, wherein customers have strong control again on how to actually make sure there's a strong governance around providing a software that was requested. Third stage comes the manage part. And this is where today's session on software asset management is the focus area, wherein how can you manage the licenses, how you can administer all the licenses that was provided in the earlier stage, how you can check the software compliance and usage, and how you can actually have the optimization areas for your organizations. So stage 3 manages something where software asset management plays a key role in the overall software lifecycle management. Moving on, once the software is managed properly, then comes the change management, wherein any software needs to be removed from a device, it's taken out. If a software needs to be changed, that is done. If a user leaves a company, or if there's something in an event the license needs to be transferred or reharvested, that operations is done. And if the software is retired, the end of life, there's no further support, and the IT team decides that we have to get a new license altogether and you have to retire the software. So that's the end journey, end to end, right from the software is requested all the way until it is retired. This is software lifecycle management. And what's important to see is the stage 1 request, stage 2 provide, stage 3 manage, and stage 4 change. Out of these 4 stages, many organizations have very strong governance and control on the request, provide, and the change stages of the life cycle. But the stage 3, the manage part, is something which there is not a keen focus areas, because that's not part of the day-to-day exercise. Now, what is software asset management? And why we are really concerned about software asset management, and why do organizations should really look up to? In a very basic word, software asset management, SAM, is a set of business practices which helps you manage and optimize your software applications throughout all stages of their life cycle. Now, typically, if you have a strong software asset management practice in place, if it is a part of the core practicing, then you can have a strong risk management in place. You can have a strong compliance management in place. You will be audit prepared. You will achieve a lot of savings and overall governance. The key is the governance that we really want to ensure that we achieve it via software asset management. While for an IT manager, he will be more concerned about a compliance management, and he will be interested in making sure how his life is easy by having a SAM in place. While the GRC team would be more concerned from the governance perspective, whether every software is compliant and there is no over deployed software license in their infrastructure. While the CXO level executives are more concerned around from the risk of audits, where it can be potential a reputational risk or a financial risk. So they see SAM from a different lens altogether. While a procurement team or a procurement manager might be seeing SAM as it is how it can help me save cost for the company. Same maybe for the finance team. So cybersecurity team would be concerned from how it can help them with the risk assessment. If they get to proactively know that these softwares are getting obsolete, they can have a planning in advance to change the software, because this is one of the areas where potential hackers, they try to get into. There's a loose point of having a software which is not licensed and which doesn't have a active support. So this is the overall software asset management at a high level. If this could be correlated by the audience today on the call, if you are an IT manager, or if you are a compliance manager, or if you are a procurement officer, or if you are a cybersecurity officer, I hope you guys can connect with us and why we are pushing this thought of having a software asset management practice in place. Typically, the overall SAM is considered by Microsoft and by Gartner. So we call it SAM maturity level. Any organization, if they claim that they are practicing SAM. Now, what's the way we can measure it? So this measurement, we call it as SAM maturity, wherein we try to assess the customer's on-ground situation, reality check, and then we compare it with the two model from Microsoft SAM optimization model or via Gartner breakdown into several stages. To keep it simple, Microsoft has 4 levels of SAM maturity. Level 1 is basic SAM, which means it's an ad hoc situation. No idea about the inventory, and there's a lot of problems with related to software asset management. Level 2 is a standardized SAM practice, wherein the IT team has a decent knowledge and a decent practice set up within their infrastructure, where they are able to track the assets, where they know where the softwares are being deployed, but they are not 100% sure about what's happening around. So it's a standard SAM practice which majority of the organization they fall into. Third stage is known as the rationalized SAM, wherein there's a good active management done, proactive management, if I would use this word, in terms of their software procurement and their software deployment, making sure there's a set of practices in place and there's a quarterly periodic check done on their compliance situation. Level 4 is the dynamic SAM, which is a dream of every organization to be, and with more and more digital initiatives taken by the government are pushing the same thing. The organization are trying to voluntarily adapt to themselves to reach to a dynamic SAM situation, wherein they have proactive management of their software assets. They have proactive management of their governance. They have proactive management on cost optimization areas. Now, level 1, 2, level 3, 4 are the areas which, from a Gartner perspective, it's been break into 5. The basic SAM and the chaotic remains the same, and they added a reactive one in between our standardized SAM and basic SAM of Microsoft model. More or less, the objective is to reach to dynamic SAM or to the value stage of Gartner, where as an organization, they would feel proud from themselves that they achieved to this situation. And it's a journey that can take anything between 3 months time to up to 36 months of time. So for the organizations who are already in level 3, for them, everything is known. It could just take a matter of 3 to 4 months for them to reach to the next stage. But for some company who have already at the start of their journey, for them, it could potentially take up to 36 months. Now, that is why it's important to focus proactively in a software asset management service because of the timeline, it takes time for the organizations to adapt for something which has not been done for many, many years. Implementing a new practice can be really difficult. Now, but as a maturity assessment, this is an entry level practice that any organization can just avail it, so that at least they get to know at which level they fall for. Now, if you are an IT manager listening to this, seeing this video, maybe you can just correlate yourself that which organization could be in dynamic SAM, which organization could be a rationalized SAM, and which organization could be on the other level of SAM maturity. While considering your own organization, you can just rate yourself whether you are level 1, level 2, level 3, or level 4. Regardless of it, if you feel that you need to optimize your estate, always feel free to reach out to us. Moving on to the next slide. Now, this is something which is of real concern for the sponsor, the project sponsor who's gonna invest into a software asset management. Now, typically this question arrives at what are the real business values that we're gonna gain out of such investment. While there are many strong business values that can be generated out of it, we try to break down into 4 categories. One is optimizing your cost. Second is saving time and effort. Third is reducing the risk and gain peace of mind. Lastly is increase value of your investment. To begin with, optimizing cost. Now, this is the immediate attraction for any organization. If via SAM, if they can achieve significant cost savings, it's a win-win situation.
Sanjeev,
Yes,
I have
Mari.
a question.
Yes.
How it will benefit business regarding cost?
Thank you. So typically I give you a case study. Now, for many, many years, organizations end up spending huge ton of money on their software contracts, and it goes on year on year. Through software asset management, what we do is we identify which softwares which are not being in used by organizations, and by this practice you can actually take those softwares out from the contracts, and we term it as shelfware licenses. Now, if you are paying $100,000 as a
But how much do you think like it's gonna be cost saving, the percentage?
Sure. So I'll just finish my previous question, and I'll just come to that point, which was actually a follow-up answer to this question. Now, how to optimize cost, how it will help is via doing this assessment, you can actually get rid of the extra support that you are paying to the organization, like to the OEMs. And at the same time, you can identify if they have excess licenses, so you need not end up buying more licenses. Now that saves a significant amount of money for the organization, which they can potentially invest into their digital projects or any other business initiatives that can take. Now, how much is the percentage that gets saved? Well, there are different answers to it. If you have a big estate, an organization with 250 users, you can assume 10 to 15% of savings because it's a small estate. If you have organizations where more than 1,000 users, you can expect around 15 to 20% savings. And if you have, the more complicated the infrastructure is, you can expect more percentage savings. That's how typically large complicated infrastructure wherein you have like thousands of servers, if you have hundreds and thousands of end users, it gets really complicated. And so does the contracts as well. Does that answer the question?
Yes, yes. Hello?
And there's no specific benchmark that it can save X percentage. There is the reality could be different. It is only when you try, when you assess the contracts, then we can come up and we can say that we can save X percentage. So we need to access the contracts. We need to first know certain questions that we're going to ask, how much an organization is investing every year on year. Based on that, we can give an estimation that we can help save X percentage. But there's no specific benchmark. But yes, it's enough savings compared to the investment that is being made in this kind of advisory services. Okay, so moving back to the how do we optimize the cost is basically, as a customer, we help you gain insights. Now, once we assess the infrastructure, once we know what is installed, where is it installed, how do your contracts look like, is there any areas of optimization, is there anything that can be changed? If we have all these data readily available with us, these insights can really help you aligning with your strategy, and these insights can help you effectively negotiate in a very efficient manner with any of your OEM. Because typically what we have seen is organizations really burn a lot when it comes to renewing their agreements. It's a firefighting situation wherein the renewal is down the line and the IT team are being asked to give the data, what's being used, where it is being used. But because this is not a proactive service that any organization is practice, the IT team refers to infactual data and they end up in a situation wherein it ends up in a negotiation phase by the vendors, which results in a non-favorable pricing as well. So imagine if you have a data in place, if you know that you are only using X licenses and you don't need X plus Y, and which the OEMs try to push. Now these data can really help you to stick on to that, resulting in a significant cost savings. Now this helps save money. Like typically anything, even if a license can cost you anything between $1 and it can go up to $10,000 and even more for so few of the products are really, really expensive. And this really helps organization to track effective the licenses and make a wise decision, which results in the ultimate achieving the business goals, which is nothing but to avoid unnecessary cost. I think that's after COVID, this just got accelerated, that it has to be a reduction in cost. Find out ways how you can optimize and bring a difference in the practice that we are doing. Second business
Hello,
value
Sanjeev.
that I see. Yes.
Sanjeev, let me interfere. I have a question. Similarly, imagine myself as a client for yours. Actually, one of the vendors, just like you, came to a company and they said they will help you save, money on the software licenses. And similarly, they have installed a tool in an organization. I don't want to name what the name of the tool, but they deployed the tool there, and since then it has given us zero value. So what makes you different from them? And are you promising the same? Are we going to get no results?
That's a brilliant question. And these questions are typically a reality check. That is for sure. While I really don't blame the tool companies because a tool is something. Let me give an example. So basically, imagine an airline industry, where the main objective is to provide a world-class experience to your passengers, right? Now, if you correlate this industry with SAM, it's like a tool is an aircraft. You need the best aircraft to give the best user experience. But a majority of organization, they don't realize that just having a tool in place will not really get the job done. For instance, if you have an aircraft, you need to have a very experienced pilot to take care of it. You need to have a co-pilot. You need to have a set of crew taking care of it. You need to have ground staff. And you need to have many controls in place. Yeah. So if you just correlate with the SAM industry, it is exactly the same. Now, the tool vendors are the best. Any tool that you pick is good enough to get the SAM done. It is the people and the processes that really makes the difference. So if you can install a tool and you don't have people, you don't have processes, you will not realize the value of the tool. But if you have already invested in a tool and if you have the right certain set of skills, expertise, and processes defined, that is where you really find the value. Tool will have certain limitations, and that is where when we try to speak to our customers, what we do is we give them the exact scenario of what the tool is capable of and what the tool is not capable of. And for the limitations of the tool, how, as Mannai, SAM expert, how we can bridge those areas on behalf of the tool so that at the end of the day, the organization can get the best out of their tool investment as well. So that is the difference which we want to bring onto the market, that a tool can get the job done, but without people, without support, it will not give you the best of your investment. Does that answer your question?
Yes, perfect. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sanjeev.
Yeah. Now imagine your IT team is day in, day out working for the IT operations, wherein you end up having thousands of tickets in a day for a complex environment. It could be as small as, that the Teams is not working, the printer is not working, and there's a ticket being raised. Strong policy defined by the GRC team. Fantastic. Where is the time to focus on software asset management? No, because most of the time goes in doing the operational task. That is where when we say software asset management, if it is being outsourced, then our team can actually focus on your strategy. Like we can run on your behalf. And this can actually give you good insights. At the same time, your team can focus on doing their day-to-day work. Even if there's an investment done internally, if you have our own resources, again, there will be a certain cost that the organization will have to provide. Now, like I said, the analogy which I used about the airline industry, SAM is not a one-man thing. You will need to have multiple team members to take care of it. You need to have several experts to take care of it. You will need external consultants, and there's a lot of time, effort, and money being invested. Yeah. Is there a question?
Yes, regarding the team, like there is the consult team that they will support, and the technical team. So there is another group of the team?
Well, there is. So first, the technical team will come into picture whenever there's and I will show you when we go through our offering slide, what all services we offer. So the technical team will be more involved when there's a tool implementation or a tool correction. If the customer has already implemented a tool, and I think one of the gentlemen, he asked this question a few minutes back. So in order for someone who has already invested in a tool, a set of technical expertise from our side will help them correct it if it is not being utilized properly. That is one. Second is, if organization has never invested in a tool, if they don't have anything, then we can help them right from identifying which tool can fit to their needs, and then my technical team can do the deployment and end-to-end journey of the tool implementation, that we call it as plan. We will plan it, then we build it, then we operate it, and then we transfer it to the end customer. That is one of the skill sets that is needed. Second, you will need SME experts. Now, let's say Oracle, you will need to have Oracle champion who has been doing Oracle for many years. Now, licensing expertise cannot be acquired, like for instance, just by reading or learning. Yeah. And these are all veterans that we have in our teams who actually has worked in a real scenario, helping customers with their Oracle contract negotiations, optimizing their Oracle licensing estate. Similarly, for SAP, you will have a different champion SME who will take care of SAP. And that goes for IBM, and that goes for Microsoft, and that it goes for VMware, Red Hat, Citrix, and hundreds of other publishers. So every product line, OEM perspective, you will need to have an expert. Now, the third set of team is that would be required is from an advisory perspective is the process side. While you can take care of the technical part, while you can take care of consulting with the Oracle specialist, but when it comes to enhancing the processes, you will need to have set of skill set who will actually help you increase your SAM maturity level. If you just take you back to a few of the slides that I was showing on SAM maturity. Now, how do you go from level 1 to level 4 is a skills which help you achieve that. So there are a set of people from our side who are gonna interrogate and questions to big stakeholders like the procurement head, like the finance controllers, CIOs, operations head, network team, and there's a tons of questions that get being asked to understand what's the reality in an organization, and then it's done. So to answer your question, 3 major categories on a high level that skill set as would be required. But again, every product will have a specialized SME for that matter. And that is why if you see in the same slide that let our team focus on your strategy, like we take the effort and we put the hard work on your behalf. and we help you get all your licensing questions from our experts. So tomorrow, if you have a questions on Microsoft SQL Server, thank you, we can answer on their internal team behalf. If you have a question on Oracle database, we can answer. If you have a question on migrating your on-prem SAP to S/4HANA, these questions can easily be answered by us. So it's like a one-stop shop to keep it simple for the software asset management queries. Now, all these can help the decision makers, take fast decisions. They don't have to wait for their teams to come back after doing their research and after getting the information from the internet or through their sources. If we have been collaborated, if we have been as an advisor, we can help them answer very quickly. Overall, it will save a lot of time and effort, which will result in saving a lot of money. Like imagine a team spending 1 hour on finding out a solution. Now, if you break down their hourly cost, there's a cost which get associated, right? So the more time the team invest is actually the more cost for the company, which it is ignored by most of the organizations, and wherein we are trying to bring in this message that via consulting us with Mannai, we can help actually save this time and effort for you. While if we take care of optimizing the cost, we help with all the licensing questions. This gives a complete peace of mind for the CXO levels. Now, it's really good for anyone. It's a dream for them to, have a complete environment where there is actually very less risk, and there's a complete insights about what's happening in an organization when it comes to their software investment. Now, while having a robust SAM practice, you can basically avoid major technical and licensing pitfall. Yeah, this typically there's an indirect cost for having such scenarios. Now, this helps in cost savings, typically with experts on Oracle, with our experts on IBM, with our experts on SAP, and with the overall tons of experience that each one of us brings onto the table. That really helps a complete peace of mind for the CXO. Now, because of the SAM practice that we recommend and that the way we practice ourselves is it's purely on factual and based on data. Now, the reason why we are so confident that you can actually gain your complete trust and peace of mind is because all our reports is based on accurate and reliable data that is in line with the auditor's methodology. But when I mean in line, it's like we perform the exercise, we see things with the same lens as the OEM would do. Now, this is a very classic questions that we get whenever we go to customers that, oh, we have done our internal advisory. We know how to license this product, and we know how OEM would come and perform the exercise. Let's take an example of Oracle database. So the internal IT team, typically they say that we know how it is licensed and we are pretty much aware, we have gone through the document. But when Oracle audit teams come, when they comes for an audit, they're gonna check through a different way and methodology, which is actually only known to the Oracle license management team. It's called it GLASS. They have a global licensing team who takes care of these scenarios. And Mannai's software asset management practices is in line with the OEM audit practices. So we come exactly, we do the discovery and we see things in the same fashion which a OEM will do, basically. Now, having this in place will completely reduce your liability in terms of your software assets. If there are millions of dollars being invested, and if you think that's a potential breach or can result in a non-compliance, now with this advisory services, it can typically help you overcome all these things. This can also help you in an event of a audit when there's a negotiations or there's settlement. With our experienced experts, we can help bring down that amount as well significantly. Now we are confident because we've done it with many customers, and it's really fascinating if we share certain case studies that people really come back to us and say that is it really possible? It's a mind-blowing amount of savings that you can actually achieve via SAM practices. Lastly, to make a robust decision, it has to be based on facts and not by any assumption. So anything that we do, it has to be fact-based. Now, if we have that in place, 9 out of 10 problems all gets resolved automatically. But because we don't have proper facts, that we keep attracting problems, in few months or in few years, it will keep coming. It will never leave you behind. So that is where having a SAM practice in place will give you a clear visibility on what it is being there currently. And based on that, you can take real good decisions. Next slide is on increase your value on your investment. Overall, SAM will give you good amount of returns on your investment, not only from your contractual perspective, commercial perspective, but also from your operational efficiency by your team. That also gives a good amount of value through SAM. There's a good return of investment that you can achieve actually by having the right set of skills, understanding the proper way of product licensing and expert advisory that we can provide it to you. If any organization, if you're looking to deploy a tool or technology, let us do it on your behalf, because we have certain models that we can really have that quick turnaround time and which can help you optimize your time and effort and the cost as well. Let us help you pick the right solutions. Like this is what is the need of the hour is as a consultant. Let us give you the solutions, and rather than organizations taking decisions on their own, as a SAM organization, as an expert, a quick consulting from us can really help you take the correct decisions and help you invest your money in the right place. While the real business values that I shared, is there any question from anyone of in the team members?
Yes, I have a question.
Yeah.
Since you will be deploying your own tool, or for the practice of SAM as a practice. So one question: how secure is my data? So I will be giving you access to all my environment, even the infrastructure, and also you are getting access to my contracts, ERP contracts, or whatnot. All the software assets, you are getting the end-to-end data from my organization. How secure is my data? How can I ensure that, or not a single point of data will be gone outside, or is there any leak in the pipeline, something like that? So how can you ensure that?
Great. So thank you for this beautiful risky question that typically the risk team ask. To answer this, The way we do it, there could be two different ways of doing this assessment. Now, first place, the data will always be in your premises. So not a single data goes out of your organization in first place. Second, it's also important to understand what data is required outside. Like if I say personal data and personal sensitive data, is that taken out from the infrastructure? The answer is no. While GRC team is really concerned about not giving the data outside their region, is typically from the data privacy segment. Now, there are certain laws that each organization has to abide, and that is where we, as a consultant, we end up performing the exercise on customer premises. So the first option is your data stays in your devices, in your laptops, in your servers. No data goes out. Whatever data goes out, it has no personal information, no IP addresses, nothing. That is one thing we make sure. Second, we have a non-disclosure.
For this, to conduct this practice, we need to share you our usernames and passwords and all access to the systems, right? So how can you, how does that work?
No, we don't need any of the username and password because, like I said, to break down SAM is like 4 different phases, right? The phase 1 is request, then you have deploy, then you manage, and then you change it. So while organization will have certain IT discovery tools in place, let's say Microsoft SCCM or IBM BigFix or ServiceNow. Now these data is the infrastructure is already there with the company. We will only use the extract we need to prepare the reports. If it is a SAM tool implementation, again, the tool will be installed and configured within your premises. That's the one of the option that you have. And that is where the data will always be there with you. As a consultant or expert who gonna be working on that part, we're gonna always have a non-disclosure agreement in place that could be signed not only from the Mannai as an organization, but also at an individual level. For instance, if Sanjeev is tomorrow working for you, there will be an NDA signed between Mannai and your organization and Sanjeev and your organization as well. So that is how we try to overcome this question, and that is the only solution that we can provide to the customer. Second is a typical question where customer, because as a data privacy, the data cannot be shared outside the country where you are residing. That is one question which organizational GRC team typically ask, and they say we're not going to give you data outside Qatar. Okay. And that is where Mannai, we went ahead, and as a Mannai initiative for this SAM as a service, we had went ahead and we have installed and implemented a full-blown SAM tool in our data centers only to cater customers having these queries where they don't want to install and have a full-blown tool, but they want to have a tool. So if someone who doesn't want to invest but to gain the best out of technology, Mannai has went ahead and taken that step already. So the solution is lying in our data center, and it's a Gartner rated #1 SAM tool, which we have partnered with for the region. And the data resides with Mannai Data Center. So in case the governance is in place, the data will exit your company, but it will not exit the country. It will stay inside Mannai Data Centers. So these are the 4 high-level offerings that we have, and this all offering will have sub-level of offerings which can be tailor-made based on customers' requirement. Now, it could be a small service that organization might need from a compliance assessment that they want to do just a compliance assessment for, let's say, Microsoft SQL servers. If organizations are heavily invested in SQL servers and they are trying to perform an exercise, we can help you do that. It could be for the whole Microsoft software portfolio. The compliance assessment could be for Oracle portfolio. The compliance assessment could be for your VMware portfolio and stuff. And it could also be for a specific product. If you only want to do a compliance assessment for only for your database, let's say Oracle databases, you want to know, we can try and give you that assessment. Second is we give you advisory wherein once you do an assessment, what next? Once you get a report that you are either over deployed or you are underutilizing your licenses. Now, what next is something we help you with the advisory. Now, it could be for tier 1 vendors like Microsoft, IBM, Oracle, SAP, or it could be for a small vendor as well, like let's say a TeamViewer or any other software that typically is being there in an infrastructure. But we are not limited. We do for more than 100 publishers to name Microsoft, Oracle, SAP, IBM, VMware, Citrix, Red Hat, Symantec, McAfee, Autodesk, and the list can go on and on. A third is the SAM tool implementation service, wherein if organization is looking forward to implement a SAM tool in the organization and they want to manage it on their own, where we help them to select the right product, because there are numerous SAM tools available in the market. And the first question we ask them is, do you really can do everything on your own? Like the analogy I used earlier, it's like an aircraft. So it will require tons of other things by having something in place. So if organizations are willing to take that risk, we help identify the overall SAM tool, and we also help them implement it in a stream way, which gets integrated with their relevant data sources, which will give the results and which will not result in having questions that that the tool is a waste. It's not. We are not getting the best out of the tool. So we make sure that the SAM tool implementation services offers you all these things comprehensively. Last is the SAM managed services. This is something which is what we really want to provide to the customers in a holistic way. It's like taking care of end-to-end SAM questions and delivering the best out of software asset management services. We can do this with a tool or without a tool. Like from a technology perspective, we don't limit ourselves that we would need a SAM tool. The same exercise can be performed using existing IT sources, existing IT devices that are there, and having entitlement analysis and a deployment analysis is what we can do on our own as well. Now, SAM tool is something that we recommend when your organization's SAM maturity reaches to level 3 or level 4. Like it's like taking one step at a time, and it's on the top. If you have a SAM tool, it's a wonderful experience, and the life is easy for the IT team, and for the assessment can be done really, really fast. Now imagine if let's say if I consider SAP as a publisher. Now every year SAP mandates organization to submit certain reports. You call it USMM reports that anyone who is using SAP, they need to submit it. Now the beauty of having a strong SAM tool in place is, and typically these USMM reports, it takes good time by the IT team to bring and share it with the customer with SAP. But what happens is with having a strong tool in place, it can really within few minutes, it can generate the reports, and these reports are actually approved by SAP. So that's the value add that the tool brings onto the table. But again, there's a cost for the tool that organization really need to take into picture. A detail about the compliance assessment, how it is being done, is typically depicted in these slides. As I said, we make sure that the scanning is done properly. Now, how we do it, if you see at the bottom of the slide, is typically we do the deployment gathering. Now we can do it with a tool or without a tool. Like we can use different ways to gather that data. Then we do the entitlement gathering, and based on that, we have a baseline defined, and then we map it with the deployment. So there's entitlement versus deployment, what we call in our SAM world as ELP. We prepare the effective license position, and that will help customer to take the further decisions. If you are underutilized or if you are overutilized, that needs to be fixed. Software asset management tool implementation. Typically, 5 areas, like I said, we need to properly plan and prepare which tool is best fitted for your organization. We will help design and we will schedule, prepare the project plans and timelines. What we do is we would build and integrate it and showcase how this can actually be more from an architecting point of view. We will make sure that all the data sources and integration areas are there in place. We then do a test and we check whether the results are. Yeah.
I'm sorry, I have a question regarding that. How long does it take, all this process?
Which specific, Tom, you're talking about specific service line?
Maybe if you can tell us each process, how long does it take?
Okay. So let's say compliance assessment, typically depending, there are 2 key factors that we need to know. One is how many users they have and how many contracts they have. Let's say any user with up to 300, 350 count, the exercise can be finished, the compliance assessment can be finished within few weeks. But if the user count is more than 1200, 1500 and more than, like I would say 1000, you can consider 6 to 8 weeks of time. Similarly, for advisory, depending on the pain areas, like if someone wants to have a optimization in Oracle contracts, now that can typically depend on when's your contract renewal. Now, if your renewal is due in 3 months, the exercise would take, let's say, roughly around 3 weeks time. But if your renewal is after 1 year, that only effect can be shown, the value can be written during the time of the renewal. SAM tool implementation can take any time between 2 weeks and goes up to 6 weeks time. Again, it is directly related to the number of users. So if the count is more, the time taken will be more. If there are many infrastructure needs to be integrated, it will result in more time, because the tech team really takes good amount of time making sure that the architecture is properly finalized, and that we give good amount of time for the tech team to bring up with that. SAM managed services, like I said, we can have on a monthly basis. We can do for the whole year. We can do every month. We can do every quarter. We can do exercise once in 6 months. Or it's like on an ARR model. It's like an annual recurring revenue model, wherein we can just have the contracts in place and we take care of all your exercise on a specific time mentioned. And we bring in everything that's required. So if there's a tool required, we bring in. If there are more experts required, we bring in. So all those uh, overheads and cost lies up to us. Customer can just pay X amount every month and they can take it ahead. Does that answer your question?
Yes, yes, definitely. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, is there any question? I heard someone asking. Okay.
No, I think maybe it's the person next to me. They're having another meeting, so maybe you thought that.
All right. So this is the managed service offerings that we have. Basically, it covers end-to-end spectrum of software asset management. Now, as a Mannai, we will do the software discovery. Now, these are very key areas for a SAM. Now, this will give you overall understanding of what really needs to be done in a software asset management. First is software discovery. Like, you have to identify in first place, you have to identify what is installed, where is it installed in first. That's the first basic thing we need to have. Now, this can be done via SAM tool, or it can be done via existing tools like, let's say, your SCCM. Microsoft SCCM has all the data. We can refer to that data, and we know what is installed, what's the host name, what applications are installed on that host name, what are the IP addresses, and so. Second is the license reconciliation, wherein it's a manual exercise wherein our contract experts will understand all their purchase history. It could be last 1 year, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, historical data that the team manages. And we will do a reconciliation for all your software licenses that are purchased. Now, during the last 10, 20 years, licenses has literally evolved, like from having a OEM licenses like the FPP, like the boxes, physical boxes in the CDs and DVDs, then to a processor-based licenses, then you have the core-based licenses, and so on. So there was a huge amount of transition that happened in the last 10, 15 years overall. So there will be a significant amount of reconciliation that we will do. Having a tool deployed, the softwares can be recognized automatically to save the time, because these days, because like I said, the journey for SAM can be as long as 3 years, or it could be as short as 3 months. But typically, organization wants to, get the fast results, and that is where we recommend having a tool, and that's why we invested in a tool in our data center to take care of it. So the software, all the softwares that are deployed gets recognized, and automatically it normalizes the data, it sanitizes the data. Now, which creates a master database, which will have all your coverage about your devices in your IT. For example, your desktop, laptop, servers, mobile devices, cloud applications, and whatnot. Now, as a Mannai, yeah. As a Mannai, when we say managed services, we manage your tool and we manage your operations, which means any problem in the tool, Mannai will be there to resolve it. Any sort of operations support that is required, we're going to do it. Now, typical points that I can share is, we can monitor your software usage, we can monitor your inventory, we're going to track your licenses, we're going to track your renewal, we're going to manage your IT asset, we're going to manage your compliance, we're going to help you with assessing your cloud consumption, and so on, give you real-time dashboard, and so on. Now, for a sponsor, for a company who is willing to go ahead for these managed services, these are the takeaways for you. Basically, you have a thorough entitlement analysis done. You have a thorough deployment and usage analysis done. A complete and comprehensive SLR report, which is software license recon report, provided to you. We not only leave you there, we help you with remediation and optimizing based on the report's results. That results in significant cost savings and also help you prepare for the audit and have better negotiation when it comes to procurement or renewing your contract. So these are the key takeaways for SAM, for any organization looking forward for the managed services. Now, it is highly recommended, and most of the organization, they go for managed services. And so is there a question?
Yes. Does this apply also on the startup cooperation? Like, or it has to be a well-established company with 1,000 employee plus?
Well, this doesn't need to be a big company to start off. It's more of the vision that a company has, I would say, and the investment if they're able to make it. Managed services typically cost more than a smaller exercise. So a company who is just a 50 user startup, it's not recommended for them because they are not using that much software as compared to a 500 user company. But if a company is having 50 users, but they are spending 5 million of softwares in that 50 computers, definitely managed services is that they can look up to. So how much are they investing in a software? It starts from there. If they are investing just 50,000 real, there's nothing we really recommend. But if they are investing 50,000 to up to 5 million of real, then definitely there's a lot that the companies can actually look up to from a managed service perspective. I think the approach is something which is predefined. Like I've been saying that what we do and how we do is typically we do a evaluation. We do a complete evaluation. We ask certain questions to understand. We make you meet with our solution specialist. We make sure that all your pain points are understood first in place, and that can help you get the right solution in first place. Then we do an assessment wherein we do a kickoff meeting. Then we do a complete discovery. We do the complete analysis, followed by the compliance reports and optimization and remediation exercises. Now, if you see, evaluation is something that we do it immediately. Assessment and rest of the formalities, it typically takes anything from 6 to 24 weeks. Like I said, depends on customer size and the products that are being used. Now, the same exercise can be done with tool or without a SAM tool, and resulting in having the proper reports, consumption analysis, and all end-to-end SAM business cases that we went through in our previous slides, like cost optimization, save time and effort, reduce risk, and have the best value out of your investment. Now, this is one slide. I mean, it's an in-depth more than whenever we signed up with any customer. We try to give every solution will have a different approach, but on a high level, this is how we do it. We first evaluate, then we assess, then we do the optimization and remediation, and then we do a continuous ongoing support and management that we can do for a customer. This is something while from a data collection, how it does more from a tech perspective, that we try to cover everything. and we don't miss out on anything when it comes to data collection, because that's the key. Like we've been emphasizing that the whole purpose and exercise is fact based and data driven. So that's why we spend more time on getting the accurate data, and thereby if you have the correct data, the results would be correct. But if the data is inaccurate, the all following up activities will be waste of time for everyone. So that's why we make sure that we take the data, we complete the data, we validate it, we have multiple validation lever, we analyze it, we report what are the risks, and then we implement the next steps, whether we have to optimize or we have to remediate it. Well, to make really easy, and this is like kind of end of this session. Typically, what we have done is to make it easy for the Qatar market, what we have done, we have standard packages that we have introduced from a cost perspective, because many of you must be wondering, how, like I heard many of you asking that what are the timelines, but also if you have questions around how much would it cost. So as a Mannai, we have different packages that we are building, and it's gonna be out soon on the internet as well. So typical packages can be a standard package, it can be a premium package, it could be a enterprise package. And depending on the seat count, depending on the users, depending on your software investment, that could be as low as 10,000 Qatari riyals a month, or it can go up to 100,000, 150,000 riyal a month. Now, what we are trying to refine it. What we really want you to know, that if you are interested to know more about SAM as an offering, and also if you want to just have a session on software asset management, please feel free to drop an email, and we will be really happy to hear anything from you. You can drop an email, and you will have in our links as well later on. You can drop in on dcsales@mannai.com.qa, or alternately, if you want to reach out to me directly, you can just email to me on sanjeev.bodia@mannai.com.qa. I'm also reachable on my mobile number for in case +974 511 72528. If there's any other question for me, happy to answer.
We've got
Yes, Sanjeev, I have one question about the cost saving. How can businesses calculate the return on investment of SAM services?
Well, two ways to look at it. One of the ways, the return on investment is SAM services. If you invest in SAM services, let's say 100,000 riyal, and by having that SAM services, you end up saving 500,000 riyal. So that's almost 400% gains that you can get as a commercial savings. That's immediate savings. Second, returns could be having a strong SAM practice in place is for your IT team and for your procurement team, that they are prepared enough to control the cost, which probably a hypothetical situation that it was not in the way it should be. So the real value that we see is from a both aspect. The commercial side, definitely you will get the benefits out of it from a commercial aspect, but the real, and for the team members to make them better in terms of their SAM journey, is something also that you get along having such a practice in place. Thank you everyone.
Thank you so much for delivering this session. Your knowledge over the entire landscape of SAM was shown brilliantly. The way you dissected complex concepts into easily digestible portions showcased your profound understanding. Thank you for delivering this session, Sanjeev. Razwan, your efforts on Razwan, your efforts on introducing and steering this webinar deserve a special mention. I also want to extend my gratitude to each and all the attendees who joined us. Your presence and investment of time affirm the power of collaborative learning. It's also through these engagements like these that we may collectively learn and stride in our own respective domains. This webinar has been a resounding success to our combined efforts at Mannai Datacenters. And as we move forward, I eagerly anticipate the prospect of further enriching our knowledge with furthermore webinars like this. In conclusion, thank you again for your invaluable contributions, attendees and Sanjeev and Razwan again. We look forward to an exciting journey with continued learning and experience and expand our horizon. Thank you, guys.